Alright, so it's time to talk about One Piece, and this would be
One Piece con
690 or 796.
honestly at this point it's looking like Oda's trying to squeeze out just a little more out of this Dressrosa arc, so that way he could say he did a 100 chapter arc.
Right.
I mean, he still has 4 more chapters, and you think, oh well, they're already starting to leave. Well, he could easily in the next chapter that comes out, you know, switched back to Sanji and possibly even Kaido and other random stuff that's going on around the world that's related to people that are important. And then, who else know, like, because we still don't know what Luffy is planning on doing, because he said, oh, I forgot to do something. So,
Mm-hmm.
and whatever he's doing could have like implications elsewhere, like, or could create a situation for added fluff content, like, oh, say he's gonna go and it's seemingly in the way the paneling is done, it seems like his business might be with Rebecca, because it's like as soon
Yeah.
as he says that, he switches to Rebecca. So it's like, oh no, is he gonna do the unthinkable and ask her to join the crew? And then she's gonna go,
Luffy.
and then she's gonna spend an entire chapter doing the whole Vivi thing, where she ponders over it. She you go to flashbacks of them encountering each other in their interactions at the Coliseum, wasting an entire chapter just on her decision, only to find out that nope, she's not coming.
It's probably gonna happen, but what would be very funny is if they did that, but she decided to join, but Luffy already left because it took too long to answer.
And no, that's not what would happen, because
That would be hilarious, though.
I know, but and
It
then
would never
there's
happen.
other possible things you could be doing, like the other theory, which is that he's going back to claim the island
Right.
or something, which I would like to see that, because especially when you think about it, what King Riku said in this chapter about how he wishes he could be like the godlike king that could just deter storms with just a wave of a hand.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like basically what he's saying. He wishes he could be that powerful king or ruler that could deter the trouble, but he can't do that. So, what other choice would he have in order to protect the kingdom than by having someone protect the island?
Right.
And he's certainly not going to trust the Marines. And since this is the new world, there's only one way to protect your island, and
Yeah.
that is become a territory of a pirate. More often than not, a Yonko.
Mm-hmm.
So, with Luffy, obviously, one day becoming, his goal to become the king of the pirates, and probably a Yonko along the way, he's would be a perfect person to protect the country.
Yep.
Plus, as Luffy's going to be gaining his territories. I mean, it's pretty much at the trend. Oda's trying to showcase the start of this trend, where they go to an island, they resolve the trouble there, and that island becomes Luffy's. I mean, they
Yeah.
did. If Punk Hazard was actually an inhabited island, that would have been his island too.
Yeah.
But it's not, so no one cares. So I mean, and if they don't, or should I say, if this Dressrosa has there is no other option at this point, because it wouldn't make any sense if Luffy leaves without claiming that Dressrosa as his territory, or in the case of Fishman Island, they just declare themselves under Luffy.
Mm-hmm.
Because it would so you're saying you're not like, that's one of the reasons why you got into this situation in the first place, was because you weren't supported by a Yonko.
Hmm.
So Doflamingo was able to come in there and do his thing.
Yeah.
So What do you learn? You need to be under the protection of a pirate, which is the opposite of what the government wants, but that's pretty much how the New World works.
Yeah.
Now, of course, when I first read this, or should I say, when I got up early this morning and I saw the title for the chapter, I was like, don't tell me Luffy's going to ask Kiros to join. And I'm like, really? Thankfully, that wasn't the case.
Right.
Or at least not yet.
Not yet.
And then we also saw Viola was at the palace, so I don't understand why King Riku's all like, one day I have to give this throne up to Rebecca when you have Viola right there.
I like how Elizabella was like questioning him. He's like, "Are you okay with that? Are you okay with that decision? You do know she cries over like every single thing, right?" I mean, that's he didn't say that, but he was thinking
Yeah,
it.
well, yeah, but at the same time, King Riku was implying that it was not like he was giving up the throne to her anytime soon.
Yeah.
Which is probably the main reason why he said Rebecca and not Viola, because he's like, I'm probably going to take this on for like another 10, 15 years. So by that time, Rebecca would hopefully have matured enough to become the queen.
Mhm.
Of course, then again, that's one of the many differences between her and
Uh-huh.
so where did we leave off?
You said difference between her and
Vivi. And because, as we all know, Dressrosa has been heavily compared to that of Alabasta, and that Rebecca is supposedly the Vivi of this arc, which is why it's pretty much almost a guarantee that Luffy's going to offer to her, just because, just so he can continue with that comparison.
right.
That's why we're going to get that whole chapter long debate of whether or not she wants to do it or not, which makes even less sense when you can factor in the fact that she doesn't want to fight.
Yeah.
I mean, if any of the if of all the people, like Viola and Kiros are the only two King Riku family members that would actually make sense,
Yeah.
because Viola was a Don Quixote family member for the last 10 years, so she's not going to be looked upon too well
Yeah.
by the government because she's technically a pirate. She was a pirate for the past couple of years,
Mhm.
and so they're probably gonna put a bounty. I mean, I don't know if she had a bounty, like, because I believe at the time that he took over Dressrosa, he was already a warlord, so she would have hasn't currently gotten a bounty. So I don't know if the government's gonna slap a bounty on her for just from the sheer association.
I don't know.
And if that's the case, she wouldn't be able to stay, which would give her a reason to, go with the Straw Hats, or at least leave the island.
Mhm.
Kiros, he's doing this whole chapter was about him spreading the rumor that, some random prince from another country was the one who married Scarlet and is the father of Rebecca. And he pretty much, it's giving out the impression that he doesn't want anything to do, like, he doesn't sounds like he doesn't want to stay and possibly ruin Rebecca's life with his shady past.
You mean he doesn't want to be a part of Rebecca's life because she's a shitty kid? I don't know.
I don't know. Point is that there's a lot of, he doesn't want his shady past to get in the way of her happiness. So it's possible that he might want to leave the island. So that would be a good reason, because he wants to serve the man that saved, Dressrosa.
Yeah.
As for, of course, there's also the possibility of Bellamy, because he has nowhere to go now, nothing
Right.
to do. But it wouldn't. I mean, unless you account for a possible sacrifice. Because guess what? The other part of the chapter was about. Fujitora rolled for the third day, and guess what? It was
Mm-hmm.
time. The Straw Hat's luck had run out. Where
Goodness.
were we?
Straw Hat's luck had run out.
And now Fujitora and the Marines are moving to capture all the criminals,
Mm-hmm.
including the Straw Hats.
Right.
So I heard a theory that maybe Bellamy might sacrifice himself, like kind of like how what Bon Clay did back in Alabasta,
Right.
which would be another parallel to that arc, where
Mm-hmm.
he stays behind to hold back the Marines somehow,
Please do it, Bellamy.
and not necessarily die, but get captured, but delays them enough so that way all the pirates and Coliseum people can get away.
Yeah, that would be nice because
Which
no.
which actually would be a legitimate good reason as to why Bellamy would have been brought back into the story.
Right.
He repays Luffy's kindness of freeing him from the tyranny of Doflamingo by sacrificing his freedom to help Luffy keep his.
Uh-huh.
And I would give Bellamy mad props if he did that.
Yeah, same.
Now, of course, you might be saying to yourself, well, Fujitora would just beat his butt in a second. But I don't think so. Mainly because it still feels like Fujitora wants to give any excuse to let the Straw Hats at least leave the island scot-free.
Uh-huh.
So he might not necessarily try to attack Bellamy if Bellamy were to stand in the way.
Right.
Plus, you have all the Coliseum fighters along the pathway ready to help them get to the boat. So there might be like it might be a skirmish to escape. Which, when you think about it, even if it's just against the fodder soldiers, with Fujitora standing in the background, not trying to conveniently not do anything, that could, that's probably what might happen, but would also, of course, open Oda to throw in a bunch of fluff,
Yeah.
showcasing these guys fighting again.
Yeah.
So, who knows? One of the things that people were pointing out that was very funny was the fact that after Sengoku has retired from being Fleet Admiral, he's turned into Garp.
Yeah.
Friggin' just couldn't care less about anything and is friggin' snacking all the time.
Yeah, Sengoku is... I'm glad we get to see him again. I mean, it's about time.
Yeah. I hope we start seeing some more people that we haven't seen in a while, like the Whitebeard Pirates.
Garp.
Yeah,
Garp himself. Yeah.
I wouldn't mean friggin' seeing Kobe and Helpamello.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, we got their character designs, post-time skip character design in that, like, one Luffy special.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like, okay, but I would like to actually see them do something in the manga. Even if it's, not... I mean, obviously, I don't expect them to show up with, where Luffy is, but I would like to at least see him. So we can at least officially see what he looks like. Because, Oda might decide, things have changed even slightly more than it was then, for all we know. Oda is a very detailed man.
Oh, yeah.
So, and which is kind of interesting when you think about it, because especially this Dressrosa arc in particular has been very he's been very detail skippy when it comes to certain things like fights and, keeping Sanji's adventures in the dark for so long.
Yeah, he's Mr. Prince at heart. He's got to stay undercover.
Yeah, but see, the thing is that he knows that the fans will not appreciate
I
him
know.
at all if he skips how they were able to escape Big Mom and whatever the hell else was going on when we saw them in the last week's chapter. So it's like, okay.
Yeah, it was a bit
Especially if he
weird.
wanted to add some freaking fluff to the arc. He could have easily thrown that in there unless he wants to make that a part of the next arc or
Yeah,
something.
I'm not sure. Like I said last week, either they're gonna show it like later, or it wasn't important enough to show, meaning Big Mom wasn't on that ship. So
Yeah, but it still would have been interesting to see what Sanji actually did.
yeah, I'm with you. I wanted to see Sanji very badly too. I'm glad we at least got to see him, but I'm still like, the fuck?
Not enough. It wasn't enough.
No, not enough. I agree.
Especially when it was when they had to take time away for Kaido, which ended up overshadowing the fact that Sanji's group's return.
Yeah.
Which, and then he does this. Now, a lot of people are pissed off that Kaido wasn't in this chapter, and I kind of sort of expected that.
Yeah, so did I.
But also, when you think about it, take a step back and think about it. People, you didn't really have to show much because there were obviously two trains of thought people would have about what was going to happen. One train was like, oh yeah, the Kid Alliance is going to try and fight him because they think he attacked them, or that Kaido attacked them, so they're going to try and attack him, and then they're just going to get wrecked. And then there's the other train of thought where people are like, oh, Kaido's like, he knows that these guys he may not even know who they are, and if he does, he probably thinks they're too weak to really do anything to him, so he might not even care and just leave.
Uh-huh.
And people would have legitimately been happy to just see Kaido say something to them saying he doesn't, something about them being inexperienced and whatnot, and then just walking away.
Right.
That is all Oda needed to satisfy people, the fandom's desire for Kaido in this week's chapter.
Yeah, it would have been just kind of funny if he just went, sorry, and just walked away like nothing happened.
Exactly, because to him it felt like barely anything happened.
That would have been hilarious.
That's like, to him it felt like he was just a really tall guy who went through a doorway that was a little too low and no one told him to duck, and he just bumped his head.
Yeah.
So, and then there was that whole thing with, they showed Mancherry again doing her stuff. Like, really? Do we really need to see that?
I guess we do.
That could have been swapped out for a little bit of Kaido.
Or Sanji, either or.
Kaido, because we want to see... Because Kaido only needed a little bit more. Like I said, you could have just shown him, saying whatever and then leaving without doing anything. Or you could have saw him just quickly and easily wreck them, because we know he can. Mm-hmm. He can. And then leaving. So it would have taken maybe a page or two. Which is what Mancherry's stuff took up.
Yeah.
So, and then let's see. I think that's everything.
It's pretty much everything.
Yeah. Suru was there with Sengoku. So, they got some backing. They got plenty. They have the manpower to, if they really wanted to, they could probably capture them, but they're not, because fate will intervene in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's like we said, in the form of Fujitora conveniently doing something, or Bellamy or whatever. Something's gonna happen, and they're just gonna get away.
Yeah, I mean they have one of the best escape artists out there right now, and that's Law. So,
just tied under a bunch of dead bodies.
Yeah, and that guy can make 1,000 different escapes, whereas where Luffy could probably only do about two in a certain situation. So yeah,
Well, see, the thing with Law is that obviously he's probably more than well enough where if they get close enough, he could probably just like room and then like tact. Oop, we're on the ship.
exactly. Yeah, I
So,
mean he could do all kinds of crap like that. Like if there were people like staying on a ship, he could use shambles and switch with them.
yeah, he would have easily. He could have easily like he could even with the we know he could create one pretty big one, so he could easily like teleport them like like well maybe not a kilometer away, but like pretty far away, and then run from there to get to the ship, or just continuously keep moving his room, teleporting from one end of the room to the other, and then just keep moving the room over and over again
Right.
till he gets to the ship.
Yeah, I mean, considering the fact that while Virgo was charging at him, he was able to make a room the size of like a friggin' mountain range. Okay, he can pretty much do almost anything at this point for escapes. So,
Uh huh.
but they're not going to show it that way, most likely,
Probably not.
because it would be too easy.
They got to show something more riveting. And like I said, if they wanted to throw in another connection or similarity to the Alabasta arc, they would have to have someone stay behind and sacrifice their freedom in order to ensure the others' freedom.
Right.
And who better but Bellamy?
Yeah, Bellamy, get the hell out of here. In the form
No,
of
no, no, no.
sacrificing.
That's not getting the hell out of it. That's a good thing.
Oh
But
yeah, it's a good thing if he sacrifices himself. It's a bad thing if he stays with them. Can't stand
so,
that guy.
so whatever. So overall, the chapter I thought it was really good. I mean, it could have been better, but it wasn't terrible.
Yeah, I thought the chapter was okay. That's it.
Mm.
So yeah, I guess that'll about do it.